Hey everyone, what's going on? Mark here from TST Industries, back in the garage. And beside me, I have our all-new 2025 Yamaha YZF-R3. And in this video, I'll be guiding you through the installation process of our TST Industries captive chain adjusters and GP lifters. Now, before we get into this installation, I want to mention the purpose of these chain adjusters is to remain captive in the swing arm while you're performing routine maintenance on your bike. With the help of our GP lifters, you also will introduce a secure lift point onto the rear of your bike. If you've ever done any work on the rear of your R3, you know the moment you loosen up your axle nut, these OEM end caps will simply fall out. Our chain adjusters will prevent that. They are CNC machined and anodized black right here in Central Florida. They provide a seamless and clean install right into the swing arm. And with the help of our GP lifters and the optional GP lifter slider kit, you can not only introduce a secure lift point, but also a nice added on piece of crash protection in the event you go down. Now, this installation process is very straightforward. Some basic garage tools are all you need. However, I would like to mention the way Yamaha manufactures these swing arms does introduce a wide range of tolerances. So as you're performing this installation, watching us do it with you, you may see a difference on your particular motorcycle. This is completely normal. We've been working on our R3s for about 10 years now, and they're all produced the exact same way, and they have varying degrees of tolerance issues. So just keep that in mind as you are performing this installation. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and begin the installation process. Now, to begin this installation process, we do need to loosen up our rear axle just a little bit. We are not removing it, so please keep that in mind. Grab your 22mm socket on this side and a 19 on the opposite side, and begin loosening your socket just a bit, or your axle nut just a bit. Now, with your axle nut loosened, you can go ahead and remove your rubber end cap that is on your swing arm chain adjustment. And now we will go ahead and grab our 12mm wrench. You will break the rearmost nut loose, twist it off, and then the second one. And as you can see, we've loosened up the axle a tiny bit, and we began loosening these nuts, and this is already falling out. Have no fear, this will no longer be an issue. You're going to remove the two nuts and the washer on the stock chain adjuster end cap, and you will remove the end cap. Toss that hardware to the side as we will be reusing it, and now you can pick up your TST chain adjuster. Now, for the right side, these are side specific. The right side does have an inscription on the inside that says 10368-R. That does mean the right side, and the left side will say 10368-L for the left side. Please make sure you are installing these correctly on the right side. We will grab the included spring and slip it onto the threaded post. And then we will go ahead and slip our captive chain adjuster end cap over. You're just gonna leave it in a position where you have a little bit of security and tension on it. And we will slip the washer on and one of the OEM chain adjuster nuts. And as you can see, we loosened up the axle so we have some up and down range, but we did not adjust it in a way that your chain slack should be adjusted or affected by this. It is important to note during this installation, and once you finish it, it is your responsibility to check your chain slack. Now, with this in place, we can begin putting the end cap into the swing arm. And as I mentioned, this is where the varying degrees of tolerance issues comes into play. You will line it up in a way that you are about 90% of the way, and then you're just gonna grab your mallet and just give it a few taps on the top and bottom. And you can see it's going right in, gently tapping it in, working it in evenly so that you do not become skewed in the swing arm and ultimately cause additional stress on this entire assembly. And you can see the lines match up perfectly. We have a flush finish here. So now we can continue the installation. At this point, you can hand thread on the first nut you put on. Grab your 12mm wrench and tighten her down. And then you will grab the secondary jam nut, thread it on by hand. Now at this point, if you do have a secondary 12mm, you can go ahead and back out the first one a tiny bit, jamming it up against the second one, and you're now locked in place. Now for our chain adjusters, or our GP lifters, I should say. You can see here that the holes line up perfectly for the boss on our chain adjuster and the swing arm boss from the factory. We will grab the longer bolt included with our chain adjuster kit, feed it through the GP lifter, and then grab the small 10mm nylock locking nut and feed it through the boss on our chain adjuster. Now, if you are using our GP lifter slider kit, you would slip the slider over the GP lifter and then feed the bolt through the both of them. If you are not doing that, you can opt to use one of the shorter bolts. Doesn't really have an effect. The choice is ultimately yours on the equipment that you plan on using. If you are using the slider or a spool in addition to the GP lifter, you will want to use the longer bolt. We are not using those items. However, I do want to use that just to avoid any confusion. So we are going to hand thread this, and then we will grab our 4mm Allen key or T-handle and the 10mm box wrench and begin tightening this assembly down. And right before we get to bottoming out, you will now go ahead and grab one of the shorter bolts included with the GP lifter kit, and you will feed it through the front position. Again, you always start threads by hand to ensure you are not cross-threading. And once you have a handful of threads engaged, you can begin to use your tool. We will bottom out the front one, like so. And then we will bottom the rear one out and lock it into place. And just like that, you have now completed the installation on the right side of your swing arm. We are going to repeat the steps on the left side of the swing arm, and then this installation will be complete. Just like that, this installation is now complete. Now, at the end of this installation, you will be left with your OEM end caps, 2 bolts, either the shorter ones or the longer ones that you didn't use, and then your OEM rubber end caps. At this point, if you'd like, you can slip those back on. And the very last step is to torque our axle nut back down to 42 foot-pounds or 57 Newton meters. Before doing this, please ensure you check your chain slack. You shouldn't have adjusted your wheelbase at all during this installation, but right now, before you torque your axle nut down, this is a perfect time to check your chain slack. I've already done that, so at this point, we're gonna go ahead and torque our axle nut. And we've set our torque wrench to 42 foot-pounds or 57 Newton meters. And just like that, this installation is now complete. Now, as you can see, we've added on some nice hardware to the rear of the swing arm and got rid of the OEM end caps that, as you saw, simply fall out. We've also introduced a nice secure lift point with the help of our GP lifters. And best of all, if we want some added protection or an additional lift point, you can do so by using our spools or the GP lifter slider kit, or both, if that suits your needs. So if you found this video helpful, you want to check this product out, please be sure to visit our website, tstindustries.com. The link to this GP lifter and captive chain adjuster kit can be found in the description below. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to give us a thumbs up. It lets us know that we are doing a good job in delivering the message to our viewers and helping instill confidence in you to work on your bike. If you haven't already, right now is a perfect time to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to stay up to date with all the new and exciting videos we have coming out for the R3 and plenty of other models. Of course, we always suggest stopping by our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all username TST Industries. And lastly, if you want to drop a comment, let us know where you're watching from, say hi, or suggest any other videos. Please feel free to do so in the comment field below. We'd love to hear from you. For now, this has been Mark in the TST Garage, and we will catch you next time. Ride safe.